Role of inflammation in osteoarthritis, I think is little bit same. There is no much difference. As the same pathophysiological process, I am discussing about the inflammation is a novel target, particularly in the cardiovascular disorder. Why this cardiovascular disorder discussion? There are too many diseases in the cardiovascular disease actually, congenital heart disease and all basically. Why to discuss about the coronary artery disease? No doubt is the major cause of mortality. Epidemiological wise, this is the first, almost there is 30% of death globally as well as in India is because of the cerebrovascular disorder. In this cerebrovascular disorder, I will consider coronary artery disease as well as vascular disease, means stroke also included in this. And you see that almost 20% of the patients are less than 40 years of age. This is most important. And what are the risk factors? Everybody knows that there are some modifiable risk factors and some of non-modifiable. Like diabetes, hyperlipidemia, dyslipidemia you can call, hypertension, hemostatic or thrombotic events. These are the modifiable risk factors. What are the non-modifiable? These are not in our hand. Like behavior, demography, like Indian people, they are more prone for the coronary artery disease, particularly Southeast Indian. Genetics, important role, that is not in our hand, it's non-modifiable. And most important figure, here you just see that the risk factors and cardiovascular disorder. Almost 60% of the disease is because of the single risk factor or no risk factor. The two or more risk factors are only 38%, means nearly 40%. Means here is the figure is 60% they have one risk factor or no risk factor. More than half of have they were either normal or mildly increased lipid level. I think all physicians, everybody knows that those presented to us with the coronary artery disease, most of the patient, they have LDL level is as what they have mentioned in the Western literature, it's as compared to them, our Indian people, they have near normal level. Still they are suffering for the very significant coronary artery disease. Now we go through the pathogenesis. What is pathogenesis, particularly in the atherosclerosis? The monocyte, activated monocytes that present in the blood that entered into the endothelium through the what happened? Along with that, LDL is also entered. Once that LDL is oxidized, then it converted into oxidized LDL. That is more harmful. And how it's converted into the oxidized LDL, there are certain triggers. And what that triggers, they are the inflammatory markers. What happened? That oxidized LDL taken by this monocyte and then it is converted into the macrophages. And this oxidized LDL that activate the dendritic cells that is present in the intima as well as nuclear factor kappa B, the same what sir discussed. Now here the picture is the same only. Now it starts with the inflammation. The same what happened in the osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. There are two pathways. One is kynurenine pathway and NF-κB pathway. Already sir discussed very well diagram that the same diagram I am also showing you. Nuclear factor kappa B pathway. What happened? That macrophages that releases the inflammatory mediators like tumor necrosis factor, same like what you see in the rheumatoid arthritis or osteoarthritis, interleukin 1, interleukin 6, and the most important you see their platelets. Here fortunately there is little bit the different diagram. Now platelet also play a role in the coronary artery disease. What happened? That inflammatory markers, they stimulate the vascular cell adhesion molecules as well as intracellular adhesion molecules. And what that create? What there is a binding site that attract that monocyte, activated monocyte, and they take part in introduce that activated monocyte inside the endothelium. There is a certain preventive mechanism also. Here we are looking for this at the same time that one NF-κB pathway that is increases the inflammation and they is responsible for the atherosclerosis. At the same time, there is a kynurenine pathway. It's a little bit better pathway, and it's helped to prevent this atherosclerosis via 3-hydroxyanthralinic acid. And it's the defensive mechanism against the inflammation. Just now we have discussed about the inflammation. Is it possible to turn in this inflammation into our practice? No doubt we are using this as an inflammation, as a marker, biomarkers. All we have know that there are certain biomarkers we can use for a prognostication. And the most important is CRP. What is CRP? Actually, CRP is a protein that is present in the blood. And it's all inflammatory cases, we can find that CRP is elevated. Here, particularly in the cardiac cases, we prefer to use HRCRP. Is a highly sensitive CRP, C-reactive protein. And there, actually, when it's more than 0.3, we can consider it's elevated. And up to the 1, it's a near normal, we can say is a low risk. And if it's 1 to 3, we can consider is a average risk, means more than risky fellow. And is it more than 3, that person is having the high risk. What is the importance of this HSCRP? There are certain trials they have conducted particularly, like Jupiter trial is the rosuvastatin, and proven it is one of the trial. That trial is particularly conducted on the all coronary artery disease patient. The purpose of that trials is not to demonstrate that the HSCRP is important. The trial is to reduce the LDL level and how it's beneficial in the patient. And in that case, what they found that those patients, those who are having HDL level is below 130, but still HSCRP is on the higher level, like more than 2 milligram, they found that if you started with the rosuvastatin in that patient, they have better outcome. Like there is a reduction is almost 44% reduction in the cardiovascular mortality, 44% reduction in the cardiovascular death. It means in the AMI patient, myocardial infarction, it's reasonably significant number actually. Means what they have demonstrated, their purpose of that study is not to demonstrate that the HSCRP is more important, but they found that the HSCRP is one of the inflammatory markers. Means there, other than lipid, there is a certain pathophysiology that is responsible this atherosclerosis. If you target on that also, that's mean you can reduce the mortality in that particular group of patient. In 2003, the guidelines came certain regarding the HSCRP. What they have mentioned, measurement of the HSCRP may help. Here they have mentioned in 2000, may help to direct further evaluation therapy in the primary prevention of the cerebrovascular disease. You just see in the 2003, their statement was may help. They have not mentioned it will help, may help. And what happened in 2010? Measure CRP in apparently healthy elderly people to identify the cardiovascular risk. In 2010, from 2003, where they have is the speculation may help, to 2010, they come to the elderly population to roll out the high-risk patient. And then what happened in 2013? They are telling that use of HSCRP for stratifying this high-risk patient for atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. Now here the importance of the HSCRP is increased as compared to the 2003. Where 2003, there is a just speculation. In 2010, they have included the elderly patient. Now in 2013, they are telling that it's one of the stratifying, for the stratification, you can use HSCRP as a marker. What are the current options available with us, particularly the management of the atherosclerosis? At presently, we have very minimal drug. Statin, most important, is an anti-inflammatory agent. Other one is antiplatelet, like clopidogrel and aspirin. These are the two important drugs, particularly in considering the coronary artery disease. Some anti-diabetic drugs, they have shown that is a beneficial, but still in the as a practice, we are using statin and antiplatelets. No doubt, there are other drugs like ACE inhibitors and beta blockers, but they are not as anti-inflammatory markers for anti-inflammatory property. Now, what are the novel drugs? Sir already told regarding nuclear factor kappa B pathway, which is responsible for the inflammation. Here we are discussing, just now I discussed that HSCRP is elevated, means, and interleukin 1, interleukin 6 are also elevated in the atherosclerosis. Means there is a certain other pathophysiology, like other than statin, because statin we are giving to all, in spite of this drug, the people are suffering from means coronary artery disease, AMI. Means there is a possibility we can try any other molecules. That's why these newer drugs are coming, like nuclear factor kappa B pathway inhibitor, or other one is carotene pathway activator. This pathway is prevent the atherosclerosis by inhibiting the inflammation. These are like tryptophan metabolites, like 3-HHA, that is 3-hydrohyaluronic acid, and NF-kBA inhibitor, curcumin, that is already sir discussed. How it works? The same diagram, inflammatory stimuli, what it creates, it inhibits the IKB, like inhibitor of kappa B, and it activates the nuclear factor kappa B. This activated nuclear kappa B enter into the nucleus, from cytoplasm to nucleus, and what it creates? It releases the pro-inflammatory markers. There are certain inflammatory mediators that release afterwards, like TNF, interleukin 1B, and HSCRP. And it ultimately activates the adhesion molecules. That with first slide I showed that activation of vascular and intravascular adhesion molecules that attract the monocytes and that convert that monocyte inside into the macrophages, which is responsible for the atherosclerosis. Where curcumin act? The same pathway, it prevents the activation of NF-kB, prevent the translocation into the nucleus. Ultimately, it prevents the release of inflammatory mediators. These are the certain anti-inflammatory role in cardiovascular disease. It decreases the CRP, it decreases the myocardial events, infarction events, particularly post-CABG patients, significantly reduces the serum cholesterol, decreases the fasting blood glucose, improvement in the insulin resistance. This is the other pathway, which is a preventing pathway. This is a tryptophan, basically metabolism. The tryptophan is converted into the nicotinamide, where the 3-hydroxyethylenic acid, which is important for this process, because it is having anti-atherosclerotic effect as well as reduction in the LDL level. This is the same molecular diagram of this 3-hydroxyethylenic acid, and where it acts. Actually, it acts at the genetic level. That's why it reduces the cholesterol, particularly LDL level and total cholesterol, and it increases the HDL level. These are they have compared it with the placebo. Here they found that there is a significant reduction in the plasma cholesterol as well as triglyceride level. How it affects the inflammation? This significantly reduces the infiltration of the CD4 cell into the atherosclerotic lesion. That's why it reduces the inflammation, and it found that 80% reduction in the atherosclerotic lesion. Whatever they have conducted, these are animal studies, never conducted on the human, but in animal study it found that it reduces the 80% reduction in the atherosclerotic lesion. In summary, this is the intermediate metabolite of carotene pathway, that is the tryptophan metabolism. It improves the lipid profile, significantly reduces the vascular inflammation. Now, inflammation is important in atherosclerosis. These are the certain trials that are going on regarding it is possible to prevent the inflammation and reduces the cardiovascular event. But all these are trials, majority trials are in the phase 2, not in market. They are against all basically inflammatory markers like interleukin, TNF, P-selectin, all drugs are there targeting particular each actually molecule. In conclusion, I am just summarizing because already there are a lot of discussion about inflammation and curcumin. I am not going to in detail of the same molecule again. Because despite this optimum therapy with the current drugs, still 1/3 of the low-risk individual with 0 or 1 risk factor have known to develop coronary artery disease or cerebrovascular disease. That's why controlling this inflammation will help to improve cardiovascular outcome and may also further help to reduce morbidity and mortality in patients with the cerebrovascular disease. Thank you. Steroids, like in orthopedics, they can use steroids, anti-inflammatory drugs, but I will not recommend this drug in the coronary artery disease. Please don't use this one, because this is the one mechanism, inflammation is one mechanism for atherosclerosis. This is not the whole and soul for the atherosclerosis. There are certain more important mechanisms that is responsible for atherosclerosis. That's why, because all these drugs like anti-inflammatory or steroid, they are prothrombotic. They will create more thrombus formation and more aggravation of the atherosclerosis. That's why I not recommend this drug. These are totally for actually ortho person. These are not for the physician or cardiologist. Yes, still I am still in basically statin and antiplatelet. I don't know about the curcumin, particularly in the cardiology practice. As sir already he has shown number of evidence in orthopedics. I don't know that evidence, particularly for cardiovascular disease. That's why here I am not an authority to tell you that this drug is very good, particularly for cardiovascular disease. Maybe in the future, you may get the better trials and all these basically evidence-based that curcumin is one of the important for particularly in this type of like one cardiovascular disease also. That time maybe I may agree with that and I will prescribe left and right this drug also along with statin. Thank you.